This is Belizean Legends, and I'm Bilal Morris. Today we'll be speaking with an international Belizean artist. I say international because Bella Carib, Glenda Arnold, was one of Belize's best dancers. She is also a musical artist, and she's also a director of a dance company and foundation here in the United States in Los Angeles. We also want to look at Bella Carib's entire spectrum, because she's not only that outstanding Belizean dancer that came from the Bob Reneau period of time in the 1960s, 70s Belize dance, but Bella Carib also was one of the greatest and best Belizean female performing artists, musically and otherwise. She brought a whole caliber of dance and performance to the whole caliber of music in the Los Angeles Belizean community. Bella Carib is also a PhD in education, and she's also the director of the Global Beat Academy. And for that, I want to introduce you, Bella Carib, to the Belizean Legends. Thank you so much for accepting this interview.
Thank you for having me here. It's been a while. I've been trying to make sure that we get together, and I'm glad we have this time together now.
Very much.
It's a pleasure.
Let's go straight into it. Talk about your career as it started out from Belize before your immigration to the United States. Talk about how it all started.
Okay, well, I started out as a child actually with Bob Reneau, the School of Dance. I was about 8.5 years old when I went into the St. Mary's School, where we used to have classes, and it was the first experience that I've had with dance, in dance, and exploring all avenues of dance. Bob Reneau gave me the foundation from which I built my career. And from that age on, I continued to dance. I traveled with Bob Reneau's company, dance group, to Washington, the State Department, the Pentagon, during summer breaks from school. Had a chance to go to Jamaica as the only student from the Bob Reneau School at a teenager stage, participating in 2 weeks of workshops, dance workshops, international that is, under the auspices of the great Rex Nettleford and Lavinia Williams.
Wow.
And so I was about 15 years old. That was quite an experience I had. I think I even got a little possession going on with the Haitian ritual.
Talk about that.
That was amazing. Well, I was participating in the Haitian ritual of dance. It was called Shango. And when the drums are playing, the music, the drums, the rhythm gets into your spirit, gets into your soul, and it moves you. Actually, dance is an inner rhythm as it is. And I actually remember the moment when I fell and I was gone.
Fell on the stage?
I fell and I was gone. It really affected me.
Sort of a sense of unconsciousness?
Unconsciousness,
Wow.
But it was a powerful moment and something that was positive.
Yes. That means that you were really deep into the dance. If that had happened to you.
I was driven to that point where the rhythm of the drums put me into the time and the space with the energy.
Yes.
And you can only do that if you are really passionate.
Very much. That you were feeling there, probably the spirit of your ancestors.
Absolutely, the spirit of my ancestors That's for sure.
Very much so.
So that was a great experience. I stayed at the University of the West Indies for those 2 weeks.
Very good. You want to also from there, you also talk about Curry Festa. You did. Well, did you do any Curry Festa in Belize at that time in Bob Reneau?
No, I don't believe
that came later.
I don't believe
yeah.
Curry Festa existed
at that
back
time.
then, because I was a youth performer in Belize.
Very much so.
Because I came to America at the age of 17, going on 18 actually. I was just out of high school. I just graduated from high school, St. Hilda's College, that is, and went to teach at St. John's School for about 3 months.
So you were an educator.
I was an educator at a tender age. Didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I know that teaching was a good thing because you're transmitting knowledge to the younger people. And but after that, I decided, well, you know what? I want to come to the United States. I want to expand my horizons, and more so into the arts. And my parents were welcoming of that and supported me 100%. So I came in December of 1972 and joined other family members here, and the rest is history.
But Bella, you talk about one other very dynamic thing that you did. You participated in the Miss Belize contest.
Oh yes, we were talking about that.
Talk about that.
Well, actually, that was a major experience that I had right before migrating to the United States. It was in 1972, of September celebrations, of course. I was first runner-up in the Miss Belize beauty pageant, and that was a bittersweet experience because although it was very challenging for a young lady, it's not just about the outside beauty, but it's the inner soul. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And I felt that I was robbed of my crown.
Hey, listen to that, Belize. Bella, that is some controversial stuff right there, because as you know, presently right now, they're going through a controversial thing with the Queen of the Bay.
That's what I read about.
We heard about it. I know you were on top of that news. And you come in, Bella, it's so very important that you were mentioning that you felt probably that you were robbed of my crown. Talk about that. What do you think? Do you think there are politics and different things that drive these beauty pageants in Belize? What was your take? Why you think you were robbed?
Absolutely, and I believe, let me tell you, we'll connect later, but with my point of view.
Yes.
But what happened really transcended into why I studied what I studied. Because at that early age of my life, I experienced intraracial prejudice.
Look at that. Listen to that, Belize.
Because you know, in our country, the color of your skin, it impacts how you develop. It impacts how you develop. And it is not a good thing. So while I thought that I was the one, and everybody, most of the people from Belize thought that I was supposed to be Miss Belize, and not being conceited, but you know when you're doing well. It was the response from the audience that really made me stood up and present myself as such. But then there was a young lady who, for some reason, she was a lighter color skin, really fair, and I understood that she was originally from Panama. She was not even a Belizean citizen.
Belize?
No, she was born in Panama.
Wow, Bella.
But because she was really fair skinned and even had freckles on her face, she was given the crown. I really firmly believe that. Among other political influences.
So many things playing out right there.
So many different things.
Yes.
And it happened that the people spoke, because when we were on the float during the 10th of September celebrations, at that time we didn't have 21st. Because we were still...
Right, we were not independent.
We were British endurance.
Yeah, we were not
So we were celebrating only on the 10th of September. So as I was on the float, positioning myself as first runner-up, every everybody on the streets came up to the truck and they started to throw orange peelings on the queen. On the queen. And chanting,
yes.
You're not our queen. Glenda is our queen.
That was interesting. Can you imagine that happening today?
Right, I can imagine. Anyway, so that really hit me hard, and I decided, oh well, it's time for me to leave Belize.
Yes.
And once I came out here and had the opportunity to go back to school to do my advanced education, I chose to study in the international educational field and using the arts as a vehicle for change. So combining the two, I used ethnic dance, cultural dance, as a vehicle for change.
Wonderful.
And using that to show that you can make a difference and reduce racism or prejudice, discrimination,
Yes.
by understanding one another, by being aware of our differences, and not be superficial.
And in other words, they said, be the change you want to see
Be
in
the
this
change
world.
you want to see. So
Yes.
that's what I live for. And so then I created later on in Los Angeles the Global Beat Multicultural Center. So it's all encompassing,
Yes.
going back from my childhood.
Very much. And we right now, Belizean audience, we are doing this right now at the Carib Performing Academy right here in Los Angeles. This is right where we are. Before you go out of Belize, I just don't want you to
I don't want to
go
go too
yet.
far out of Belize yet.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't want you to go yet. I want to go back to that period when you were able to expand your dance caliber with the great Nettleford.
Rex Nettleford.
Rex Nettleford.
Yes.
Talk some more about it, Bella. What was the chemistry that developed between you and him?
Okay, well actually, it's just the aura of the man.
Yes.
In his being, his presence, he was magical. His movements surpassed most people that I've experienced as mentors of dance or instructors of dance.
Wow.
He was quite a dancer, quite a dance professional in the Caribbean dance genre. Mm-hmm.
Wow. In terms of your comparison that you were able to work under this incredible dance instructor, what was the difference you would say between him and the incredible Bob Reneau that you started, that brought you out, that discovered this great talent in you?
Interesting question, very interesting question, because Mr. Bob Reneau was always, as we all know, people who know him, he was not a dancer. He was a dance enthusiast.
Wow, listen to that, Belize. This is coming from one of the legends, his students right here. Pay attention. Go ahead, Bella.
The man knew everything about dance without dancing. Mr. Bob had a little bit of pigeon toe. You know what you call pigeon toe?
Like.
Yeah. So when he gets in front of the class, the students, I mean, if he would show us a movement, he would show us movements. He knew how to exercise that,
yeah.
But to a certain extent. So he helped us to develop. And once he gets the ones that he sees, or the ones that he can use as models, then he puts those people in the front, such as Leone Felix,
wow.
Marjorie Broadley, quite a few, ladies.
So he knew how to detect the talent. He was not a dancer person, but he knew how to see that inside the student. Yeah.
So when you're thinking about first position, you think about first position in ballet where your feet are turned out. Heels together and feet turned out. But he was a pigeon toe.
I can imagine that, but it's like theater of the mind right now. Trying to go back and watch that. Yeah.
So once you become the Bob Reneau's dancer, who is the one or the ones that are the lead dancers, then you know that you're actually teaching the others.
Very much so, very much so. And in that comparison, Nettleford was actually a dancer per se. So
Exactly.
he had like a more of an advanced
Absolutely,
of
absolutely.
instruction.
He was a physical dancer as well as a theoretic dancer. He had quite a command of the language of dance as well as physically showing it. And that was the difference between him and Mr. Bob Reneau.
You also talk about, Bella, how Bob Reneau being a musical artist himself.
Oh, yeah.
You all were not only performers, dance performers, but you all also sang.
Absolutely.
Which you said also later on accomplished for why you later on led a musical career. Talk about that. How did he incorporate those things?
Well, the man was a genius musically. Also, he was a guitar player.
Very much.
He was a drummer.
Yes.
He played the drums.
Yes.
And we always had drumming.
Yes.
I cannot ever forget drum beat.
Yes.
One of the dances that all the students did.
Yes.
Everyone in the class did. And up to today, when I have the children in my academy here at the Global Beat, I oftentimes teach them drum beat.
Yes.
So I carry it on.
Carry it on.
And that gives you the sense of rhythm and timing, the drum.
That's right. Dancing to that drum beat.
Absolutely.
Drum beat.
Absolutely. And these were like simple movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Timing.
Yeah,
Timing.
exactly. And it was wonderful to watch Mr. Bob sitting at the corner of the floor with his drum between his legs, playing drum beat. Boom, 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 boom. And we just go.
Yes.
And of course, with certain other dances that we would sing along to, he would play his guitar.
Yes.
Like the fisherman's life is a very hard life. You know, and he did all the creative dancing and crowd time, the mahogany.
Wow.
I can just, of course, I re-choreographed those dances, Fisherman, Crab Time, and the Mahogany for a musical that I presented here in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, in 1983.
Yes,
I think it was 83.
Yes.
And I invited Mr. Bob, the late Mr. Bob Reneau. He was at that time living in Illinois. And I invited him to be my special guest to watch this musical and to remember his dances played out through my recreation. In the musical, Harder Than Casaba, Sweeter Than Guava, an epic of Belize.
I remember that very well. I was right there, but I didn't know the legendary Bob Reneau.
He was right there,
Yes,
right in the front.
He actually came. You invited him and he actually came.
Absolutely.
Wow, that was amazing. It's so beautiful to hear you talk, well, because we can move on, but I have you so much in the Belize spectrum because I really don't want you to go yet. Your spectrum is so broad, right? In terms of everything, and it's so good to let people hear from one of Bob Reneau's best dancers.
Thank you
Maybe
so
not
much.
the best dancer.
It's an honor.
That they can hear about the man himself, who he was, because a lot of the young generation Belizeans who are dancers, they don't really are coming up on the different dances. They did not really know the man who wrote the book.
Exactly.
You know, and you were able, as one of the best, or not the best, Bella Carib here, Glenda Arnold is giving us a very good picture of what that great Belizean dance instructor was, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And he was a selfless man.
Look at that. Look at
He totally gave his all.
Wow.
Totally gave his all to all the girls.
Very much.
And really put you into a place where you feel important.
Wow.
And it was an honor for me to just represent Belize through his cultural perspective of the country.
Wow. You represented that very proudly.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
Everywhere you go in Belize, your name is mentioned in the artistic field at the National Institute of Culture and History. Wherever you go, your name goes synonymous with Bob Reneau.
With Bob Reneau,
somehow
absolutely.
it just happened.
Yeah.
You know, and today we know that students at the University of Belize are mentioning your name in their theses, in their essays, because they have done research, but they have never get to meet Glenda Arnold, which is now Bella Carib. And through this documentary, through this show, we'll be able to have those
That's
shares with
wonderful.
the students. having you here
So
in
happy
person.
to be doing this then. Okay.
Before we move out of Belize, is there anything else you would like to add about your work in Belize as this young artist that came out of Belize that actually left a legacy in that country? Is there anything else that Glenda Arnold, Bella Carib would like to say before we move out and start talking about your immigration to the United States and your work there? Is there anything else that you would like
Well,
to add?
I'd like to say that had it been for the reversal where it's today, and I was living in this time we're living in as a student back then, if you can understand.
Very much. Yes, very much.
I don't believe that I would have been in the United States.
Yes.
Because
yes.
I believe that if you juxtapose the lifestyle and the growth as opposed to then I would have been able to stay and do more for the country as I would.
Wow.
You know.
Interesting that you say that.
Yes.
Glenda Arnold, Bella Carib, because today we have a University of Belize.
Absolutely.
And you and I was talking about the fact that we are looking for the transfer of knowledge to expatriate nationals, what you were about today.
Yes.
And we were talking about the fact that your repertoire and caliber that you have developed over the years can be a big contribution to the University of Belize in developing a department of the arts.
Department of the Arts, and it's a goal that it's kind of so, it's just a little, what do we say, it's a little bit of a thought.
Yes.
But the little thought has such a grand, can envelope all that I've done.
Indeed.
Future.
Yes.
In the future.
And we hope that hopefully by Belize seeing this, that we can invite the legendary Belizean artist Bella Carib, Glenda Arnold, to hopefully give a presentation one day at the University of Belize about the things that she's talking about right now and open up that whole area of a possible artistic department at that university.
No, I'm really serious though. I would love to do that.
Yes,
I would love to, because it's important for us now with the technology, the time that we're living in, for us to transmit knowledge.
Distance learning. You
And exactly. You don't have to be there.
Right from the academy right here.
Exactly.
You could be doing classes right straight there.
For
A lot of students are doing distance learning
For
right
sure.
now at the University of
And
Belize.
then because my doctorate is in international and intercultural education, it's absolutely the right way to go.
You're fully equipped.
I'm fully
You're
equipped.
fully equipped, Glenda Arnold, Bella Carib. You're fully equipped.
Yeah.
And I say those two words synonymously because a lot of people need to know that Bella Carib is Glenda Arnold. Students may have been writing about Glenda Arnold in their research, but they may not have heard the musical artist, Bella Carib. So that's why I say it too.
I have dual personalities. This
is Belizean Legends, and I'm Bilal Morris, and we are talking to the legendary Glenda Arnold, also known as Bella Carib. We want to move now out of Belize, right? And because we could spend, long in there, because the expensive work that you have done there takes volumes. And we won't have enough time to really cover that, Bella, because there's a lot of big things that I know you have not mentioned. That is there, but we'll hopefully come back to that later. So you have immigrated out of Belize into the United States to Los Angeles. Talk about how did that work continue, your great artistic work? How did it continue now that you arrived in Los Angeles?
Once I came to Los Angeles. Well, actually, when I came to Los Angeles, I was, what do I do? Firstly, what do I do? Of course, the answer was dance. But you know, you have to make a living, and you're layman kind of support would want you to work and bring home the pennies
so you have to make a living
to pay the bills. So
that's, right.
That's what I did, and most people have been down that road. Celebrities are in Hollywood. You know, you would do waitress, yeah, you do whatever you can do. General office work, billing clerk work, just several different types of office work. Didn't take me too long though to kind of segue. So I'd let my fingers do the walking in the yellow pages back then. We don't do that anymore.
You got cell phones now and internet and Wi-Fi.
Went over the name, Wanda Lewis Afro-American Dance Company, Dance School. And I made a phone call and the rest was history. The rest is history. So I did call, and the first day I went into her class, that was it. She saw me dance and invited me to join her company.
Yeah. Say that name again for our audience.
Wanda Lewis.
Wanda Lewis.
Afro-American Dance Company.
She was a powerful lady.
Powerful lady, the late Wanda Lewis.
Yes.
I learned so much from her. She was a dancer, student and dancer of the famous, legendary Katherine Dunham.
Katherine Dunham. Wow.
So I have a picture of her with me and Katherine Dunham.
Talking about transfer of knowledge. Transfer of knowledge
generations
from
of dancers.
Katherine Dunham to her.
To me. Yes. So I learned the Dunham technique. I learned traditional jazz, ballet and points. I traveled all around California performing at the schools, the universities. I was a professional dancer with our Wanda Lewis. I did like 3-4 shows a day.
Wow.
But the first thing that caught our Wanda's eyes was my introduction of the basket dance.
Okay.
I usually
the legendary Bob
Reneau. So she said, Glenda, come and show me some things from Belize.
Wow.
So the drummers were playing, and I had brought my basket, always carried my basket, and so I did my thing and took the basket and put it on my leg, did an attitude. The attitude is when you put your leg up and you make back. Yeah. And so I put the basket on there and balanced it and did a pivot with the basket, and they all screamed.
Outstanding.
and so there was a dance called Carnival that she had in her repertoire of performances, and she included that in the repertoire, in the dance Carnival.
Awesome, man.
So I learned so much from Rwanda.
You taught her a lot.
And I taught her a lot of things. Absolutely. It was vice versa.
Yes. Cross-cultural pollination.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
So we had a nice time with Rwanda. I had a nice time with Rwanda. I learned a lot. Did a lot of performances. I remember one of very notable performance was performing for the famous actor Robert De Niro.
Man.
We were invited to perform at his home in Bel Air, and I have pictures of that.
Big time celebrity right there.
Did a few movies, and while I was doing that, then I moved on. You know, life goes on.
Yes.
Sometimes you cannot stagnate yourself.
Very much, but the thing that I so like about you, in that you being this incredible artist that came out of Belize, that encompassed so much in terms of the arts, because it's dance, music, education. You were not afraid to lower your bar in terms of making a living in the United States. You didn't come and you didn't say, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I'm a dancer. I want to be a star right away.
No.
You humbled yourself.
I sure did.
You humbled yourself. I want you to talk more about the roles that you took in terms of the places you worked that gave you a caliber, that brought to you a whole background that you later on talk about
exploded for you, that worked for you. Talk about
Exactly.
the other places that you worked.
Well, actually, while dancing, I never gave up the dance and the music. So, but I still had to work, like we talked about.
Yes.
So I worked for a company called HRT Industries, and I was the personal and payroll administrator, statistics and control administrator. I worked directly under the vice president of administration for a large company. It was about 2,500 employees that I did payroll accounting for. And actually, I was so much into kind of a dual life that I wanted to continue my arts, but still I had to work. Yeah. So every day at lunchtime I would sit at my desk and write. I wrote the musical as I was working for HRT, the musical about Belize. And actually my boss, he put a page of an ad to help produce the musical.
They discovered that you had this artistic talent.
Exactly.
Though you were doing administrative work, you
Mm-hmm.
were able to open up to them and let them see.
Exactly.
What else did Glenda Arnold had to offer?
They were excited.
And they embraced that.
They embraced it. So if you're a good employee, you know, usually you would have folks that support.
Yes.
Too bad that they had like some companies would close their doors, you know, go bankrupt or whatever. So I moved right into the city of LA. I had been on the list, the number one on the list. I didn't take any time to like transition from one job into the next. So while I was as a new employee for the city of LA, doing public service with the Department of Recreation and Parks, I was a director. They just held on to me with all the strength they could and utilized my skills, my talents as an artist. And I was able to work in all aspects of the cultural department in the city, and helping to create programs for the underprivileged children and youth.
Wow, your humanitarian nature started coming out.
All across the Los Angeles area.
You start opening up now.
Absolutely.
You're seeing more potentials that you have inside coming.
Yes. I helped them to develop programs such as Nutcracker in the City, choreographed. I was a choreographer for the halftime showcase for the Clippers game.
Wow.
I was in the Olympics. The
1984 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles.
Dancing on, you know, I did many of the larger festivals. I was chairperson for 50 Plus Fitness Jamboree at Griffith Park.
Wow.
I was involved with Mayor Bradley's Festival in Black. I was on the committee. It's so many projects.
It's a large credential in terms of, and I know, Bella, you can go on, but it's very important that you give our viewers.
It was so great
how this incredible Belizean legend came from out of a humble little place and was able to continue to humble yourself, though there was so much power in there.
Right.
And how you had people, you gradually introduce people to who you are, and you were able to do you right inside those places. It tells a lot. It educates a lot of our young people in terms of how it's done.
Exactly.
How it is done.
I still have students who call me from back then. I have a student that I was a summer youth program supervisor for, they call it the Speeder program for the city of LA. The only program with a drama and dance during the summertime. That was administrated by the city of LA. And I was the director.
That's awesome.
So
can you imagine with the transfer of knowledge you can take to the University of Belize?
I know.
I mean, look at we need Bella Carib to hurry up quick. Get down to the university and all those deans and professors there. Come on, we gotta get Bella Carib in there. Man, Bella, that's amazing, man, because when you talk about how you were able to take that whole organic, thing about you, and then just share with others.
Right, right.
Share with others. You were able. You may thought that you did not bring anything to the table.
Oh
look
my
at
goodness,
what,
yes.
Look at what you.
I've
what
helped
you were bringing to the table.
I've helped a lot of youth in the projects who wouldn't have known how to get on the dance floor. They ended up from Jordan Downs, Slauson. They ended up off the streets. Ended up dancing for the halftime showcase.
You told me about that, and let's talk about that, because you were very apprehensive at first.
I was.
Right? Mm-hmm. And you were saying, wow, there, I don't want to be.
I don't want to go here.
And then you looked at it, but you were able to, it's not what it all appears to be, right? When you got in there, look at what came out of it. I mean, talk about how you looked at it at first.
Yes, I actually, when they transferred me, because you get transferred, and actually it was a positive thing deep down. Like I thought, well, I don't want to go there because I'm at risk to be hurt by gangs, etc. But then, you have to work, so you take on the position nonetheless. But once you get in there, you find that it was not that bad. When you see the faces of these kids, they're hungry to learn, and hungry to learn the arts, that is. And once you get them in the gym and start dancing with them, teaching them, their faces light up, and what you can get out of them is amazing.
Are you talking about male and female there, Bella?
Male and female.
They were gangsters.
They were at risk.
At risk.
At risk.
At risk. You were actually a gang intervention expert.
Exactly. Through the arts.
Look.
This is what I'm talking about.
Look. And we don't want to say, Bella, but Belize have a very serious problem with gangs. It was exported out of South Central Los Angeles into Belize.
Right.
How much more we need you there now, man? What you would bring as a diaspora Belizean?
Come on.
Talk about it. Have you ever looked at? I know you know about the struggles we have down there with the gangs.
Yeah.
Bella, you talk about how you were able to use the arts, dance,
to change lives.
This is the kind of thing that our government is looking for in terms of what can we do beside policing that can help these young people to change their lives, to let them understand that life is beautiful and that they don't have to necessarily self-destruct like that.
And actually, it is a tool, a vehicle that can help to develop self-esteem.
Sit to that.
And see, self-esteem is what really is at the core of where problems occur. If you can change that dynamic, introduce these youth that are at risk to positive activities such as dance and sports and whatnot, music, you can change an amazing group of people.
Bella Carib, Glenda Arnold, you said something that just lighted me up, because the National Institute of Culture and History is not fully utilized. There's talent in the streets.
But they're not tapped into.
What you are talking about that you did. And they're shut out.
That's right.
And we go in there and it's fully renovated, and you have been there, right?
Absolutely.
Your old stomping grounds, where you started.
Yeah.
But the talents are in the streets. How can they get those young, dynamic artists that are languishing there, running around with a gun?
Right. Yeah.
Or dropping out of school? The truancy rates in the high schools are high. How can we in Belize? You talk about how it can be done, but we need to get them into the bliss.
See what happened is we're still teaching through the banking system.
Yes.
Putting it in but not taking it out. Although I'm from that era of education and it's good base education, we have to change a little bit of the education, what you call
the pedagogy.
Pedagogy. Yeah, you got to change that. And with the arts, it can work wonders for third world countries.
Listen to our educational expert specialist talk here,
Third
please.
world countries, they have the most dropouts. And so with that said, if you cannot get them in the state because of socio-economic problems, then the government can actually create some type of alternative educational program.
Very much better.
And the arts can be instrumental.
Very much. I'm so glad you said that. You made me smile because I am a big advocate of intervention.
Intervention, yes.
But what you do, Bella Carib, Glenda Arnold, is that you have introduced for the very first time how to use the arts in a way to change young people. Because they're attracted to the arts, Bella.
Yeah.
Let's move from out of there and we are going to go to your next particular era. Beside the city of LA, you're now moving on. You're an artist that is trying to make a living. You're juggling 2-3 careers, right? You also talk about a program that you did where you were able to help elderly people in therapy by using, again, the arts. Talk about that.
Well, actually, I run the gamut when it comes to generations. I actually was instrumental to starting the first kindergarten program from the preschool at Jim Gilliam. It was a pilot program when I went there. I think a police officer had started it 6 months, and then they placed me there so I can develop it. And I got accreditation for kindergarten program. So I was with the little bitty ones, and I was the director of the beautiful Jim Gilliam Child Care Center.
From the child
for
stage,
5 years.
you worked with the youth, and you also work with the elderly.
And so I had the mommies and the daddies. We had like Mommy and Me fashion shows, and I still have pictures of those. And then I went with the older children. Then the last place I worked at with the department was senior citizens. I retired from the senior center.
You also did a program for them, right?
Yes.
You devised a program.
I devised a program called Dance Therapy for the Aged.
Wow. That's very great. Now we know why she's an educational specialist. Her PhD is in education. We know why. It is education that she's talking about right now. Away from the arts, she's talking about how you use the arts in education. This lady is awesome.
Yeah, Dance Therapy for the Aged. And actually it was like a workshop, and what I did, I had directors in the workshop, and I taught these directors how to implement this type of program at their facilities.
Outstanding, outstanding. Man, Bella, we could go in there because that's a very fascinating part in terms of your educational hat that you wore and how you were able to take arts as an educational medium,
right,
and change lives from the toddlers, from the young
ones,
to the at-risk youth,
and
to
the elders.
What's better than that? You have a compass all forms of age group. I mean, that's an expert. I mean, if you'll tell me this is not a specialist, then there's something absolutely wrong with you. But we want to come back to hotter than Casaba, sweeter than Guava. We want to talk. You were writing that play on the job.
Yes.
You were writing that play on the job.
Yes.
Talk about how it came about that.
Well, actually, every day, like I said, I was sitting at my desk with HRT Industries, writing a little part each day, a little part, until it was finished. It took me like 3 months to finish the play.
And you love to write.
Oh, yeah.
You discovered that you had that passion for writing.
That's another side of me.
Yes, many hats.
A friend of mine told me I missed my calling.
And you were using that writing skill.
Well, you know, I've been writing since I was a little girl. Actually, I have oh my goodness, quite a collection of poems.
Wow.
Starting from when I was 6 years old.
Wow.
And actually, when I went to undergraduate school, when I was taking my humanities class there, the course was about using arts in humanities, right?
Yeah.
And so I chose poetry for my finals. This is just a little spin-off from that. Okay, so I decided to, you know, they talk about tabula rasa. You're born with nothing on your brain,
Yes.
like a slate. So I said, so I'm going to transfer that to poetry, the tabula rasa, you know, connection.
Yes.
And so I did, okay, when I'm 6 years old, what can I do? What can a child do writing at 6 years old? Each stage of my life, each 2-year period, I wrote a poem. I extracted a poem, right?
Yeah.
And so I turned in my finals, age 6, the poem. Age 8, whatever I wrote then. Age 10. So,
Yeah, it all documented.
yeah, so when
This was your memoir.
It was my memoir. So when I went to class, I had a habit of being late. So I knew they were going to be reading reports. So I walked in and the professor was reading my finals. And everybody clapped when I walked in. So I could never forget the first poem I wrote. I was reading it to somebody last week.
Wow.
They wanted to hear it.
Yeah.
I think I was 6 years old.
Yes. Yes.
It was called This Wonderful World. And I still remember it.
This is Bella Carib right here, Belizeans.
This world is full of wonders.
Yes.
Everywhere you go. Wonders here and wonders there. Wonders more and more.
Listen to that.
Happy lives and happy souls all around the world. Animals, birds, human beings find themselves at home. This world of great continents, great oceans and seas, and all of God's creations are so wonderful to see. I was a little girl when I wrote that poem in
I was
Belize.
about to ask that. You were reading an artist extraordinaire. That was in you. The art was just in you.
I wrote Belize, and when I was a little older, and Papa Curly took that poem. My brother Papa Curly took. Do you remember they had Children's Corner?
Yeah, she was going.
Well, one day I was home listening to Children's Corner. My brother was on Children's Corner reading my poem, Belize.
Wow.
So I always tease him. I said, "Yeah, you started to rock because you started to read my poem."
She's talking about the legendary Papa Curly. Curly Arnold, the legendary Papa Curly. Everybody knows the man, the crack is a killer man. Yeah. Wow, Bella.
I remember most of my poems. I remember most of my poems from when I was a child. Yeah.
Wow, that's really an artist.
And so writing songs come to me like
Natural
or
organic. Right? We want, before we go into Bella Carib, Glenda Arnold, the musical artist, we don't want to leave yet from your
the play. You were talking about the play.
The play and what you wrote it on the job. You wrote it and you got it directed. Talk about how did the whole organic thing came about.
So it was I was passionate about doing it, so I got an executive producer who was a friend of mine, and I got a director who was also a friend of mine. I was teaching Brazilian dance at Inner City Cultural Center because I teach all kinds of dances.
Yes.
And the director who I hired to direct the play, he was from Brazil, Mayuto, Corera, and he actually, little story about Mayuto. He was an excellent intuitive artist. He actually is known in history as the #1 percussionist in the world.
Wow.
Yes. In the Encyclopedia of Jazz Musicians.
A lot of people might have heard that name.
He's in there.
Yes.
And so I was privileged. I was privileged to have him in my artistic support group. And so he is the one who helped to create the name Bella Carib.
Listen to that.
Yes. So as I worked with him as a teacher of Brazilian dance at Inner City Cultural Center, the play was finished, and so I was talking to him about it, and he says, "Well, I can direct that." I said, "But you don't know Belizean culture. you know said, but I'm an artist. I know everything. And I said, okay, I'll give you the job. So he did a fantastic job.
He sure did.
Yes. And we had minimum budget, so we worked with it. And it was a 2-day weekend presentation. You saw it?
I saw that play.
I think it was a 25-member cast.
I wrote an article in the Belizean Focus about that play.
Yeah, we had a commendation letter from Esquivel, Prime Minister Esquivel, and the Mayor Bradley from here in Los Angeles. And we had quite a few Hollywood actors in it.
Wonderful.
Actually, the gentleman who played my husband, he played in the movie The Story of Martin Luther King on TV.
Yes. What was his name?
Reverend Abernathy. His name is Ernie Banks.
Ernie Banks.
Yes.
A lot of people remember Ernie
Yes.
Banks,
Yes.
African American actor. Very much so.
So he and I starred in the play.
Yes.
And so Rose Pitts was a part of it. The actress, a Belizean actress, legendary
Dennis
Rose
Brooks
Pitts.
also did
Dennis
some work
Brooks
too, right?
was in it.
The late Dennis Brooks.
The late Paul Warren was in it.
Yes,
And
he
we
became one
had-
of Belize's consul generals in Los Angeles.
It was really. I just pulled out the script the other day. I found it.
Wow.
With all the music the notes, it was arranged by Clinton Crawford. Yes.
Clinton, Junie, Crawford arranged the music in Holland and Casaba. But then we gotta get a replay of that play, man. We gotta take that play to Belize, man.
Yes, we do.
That play was awesome, and now you're telling me about the caliber of artists
We have to do it again.
that worked around that.
I would want to have that play done again.
Carib, you have to do that.
Absolutely.
You have to do that again.
And put some Bella Carib songs in it.
Yes, man. Bring it back again. Just reload.
Reload!
Yeah.
Harder than Casaba, sweeter than Guava.
Listen to that, man.
An epic of Belize.
I'm not a Belizean to the bone. Harder
It
than
was to the
cassava,
bone,
sweeter
yes.
than guava. We're more Belizean. You can get that. Yes.
And so that was a part of that era of my life. And I think back at different eras of my life, and I am not regretful of anything. And I embrace each one to the max, and would love to just continue to share with the younger generation.
Thank you so much, Glenda Arnold, Bella Carib. That sparks me to say that you develop an incredible academic career, that you merged into the workforce in the United States. You developed incredible skills. And inside of there, they were able to tap into your artistic self and use that to open up doors to solve problems.
Right, exactly.
But you did not stop there.
No.
You went on and you pursued an educational pursuit by studying the arts, but developing an whole educational spectrum. In terms of talk about how you were able to merge into starting to go to study. How did it start?
How did it occur? How did it transition
your academic
from the
life started?
Okay, from the artistic, solely artistic, and administrative, and working in the offices.
I want you to do that just before we go into your musical, because that's the explosion.
Sure.
Yeah. That's the explosion.
So with that, having to be a mother and a wife at one part of my life, we all go down that journey, right, as women. And so, and because I'm from a family of a foundation is set by marriage, I just follow suit. We make mistakes, but we follow suit.
You keep on.
And at least I had that experience, and I was able to raise my son, one child I have, who has some challenges, and I'm still taking care of my son.
Talk about a superwoman.
He's an adult, but he has challenges, developmental challenges. And so my mom once told me, love you, rest in peace, continue to rest in peace, Mom. Are you Wonder Woman? What are you doing to yourself?
That's Super Bowl. Wonder Woman.
Are you Wonder Woman? Because, you know, I had the previous Bella Carib Academy of the Arts back in the 90s, which was next door to my brother's record store, Seabreeze. And at the same time, I was in finishing my undergraduate work at USC.
That was your master's, Bella Carib?
Well,
you were finishing your master's at the time?
Well, when I opened the academy on Western, I believe I was just starting the master's.
The master's.
Wow. I was just starting the master's.
You were done with a bachelor's degree.
And when I was doing,
look at this lady here with all of that. She was going into a undergraduate.
And then I'm working for the city at the same time.
At the same time. And raising a son. A challenged son.
Developmental challenge, yes. And as a divorcee, you know, single mother, and I just said, you know what, I'm going to soar. But when I soar, I'm going to be very careful how I do it.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And that's a good lesson for you all out there.
Indeed, indeed.
We can all soar,
right.
But just be careful and do the right thing while you soar.
Yes. It's triumph. To take the negatives and bring triumphs out of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And while I'm doing this, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go here, I'll teach this class. I'm going to write my report for class tomorrow. I'm going to check in on my son, making sure he's okay. My mom is taking care of him. I'm performing, a show comes up, somebody calls me, hey, they're interviewing for a movie in Hollywood. There I go, auditioning. And I was always in the Hollywood scene. Yeah. So when I got the call to do King Kong 76, I was married at that time, and I was given negative by the spouse. Don't do it. You're not going to make it. They have thousands of dancers who are better than you.
Beat you down.
I'm sorry to say it. And I almost didn't do it, but I followed my own intuition.
You were one that should not have been stopped. Yeah.
And nobody stopped me. Yeah. And I got it. Yeah. Worked it, made money, bought my house with the money.
Look at that.
My first house.
Glenda Arnold, she's showing you that throughout hard work, struggle,
don't listen to people who will say you can't do
that you can rise to the mountain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened again. I was able to, I've been taking classes. I never stopped. As a professional in dance, you still take classes. I was teaching and taking professional level classes. And so you meet people who are connecting you to Hollywood work. So I didn't have to audition for being in the movie Dr. Detroit, because I was taking a class from the choreographer of the movie Dr. Detroit. And he saw how good I was, so I had a job. I was a lead dancer, right, dancing with James Brown's band and in the scene there with Dan Aykroyd. Made a lot of money. That was all right. And,
very much.
And then I had another movie, The Last of Never. That was a B movie. I did quite a few movies. Some of them didn't really make it, some did. But most of them were like lead dancing. I did one big part in a movie, and that one was international. Yeah, I was a policewoman.
Hey.
But yes, I did.
Keep on performing.
Manimal on NBC. I was involved in that TV show. Yeah, I just kept performing, and while performing, also creating my own my own core of a family of dancers. So with that company, I was able to do bigger things because I got to choreograph a lot of dances, and we used to do annual performance at the Wilshire E. Bell Theater.
Yes,
annual dance jubilee.
Yes, yes.
And Lula Washington's company was involved. Ballet Circle Group. Wanda Lewis still had her company, so we came right back full circle. Yes. And after that, I ended up taking care of Wanda Lewis until she passed away. Full circle.
Because say it again to the camera.
I ended up taking care of Wanda Lewis
The legendary
The
dance
legendary
instructor
was-
that transferred so much knowledge to you.
Yes, because
That's a blessing.
while I was studying, doing my doctorate at USC, I brought Rwanda Lewis as a guest lecturer to teach while I was there teaching. And I was on the committee to bring Katherine Dunham to USC to give her an honorary doctorate degree. I was on the committee. And so that's when that picture was taken. But I have to say this. So when I brought Rwanda Lewis, she was already older and of course Dunham was in a wheelchair. I mean, you know, you look at the changes in our lives, that we were beautiful bodies on the stage. And you watch how our bodies change. And this is how life is. So we have to make the best of what we have today, because nothing lasts forever. And especially in the physical, in the flesh.
But from what they've seen, you have taken good care of yourself.
Well, thank you, Bilal.
She's still very beautiful, Belize. This is Glenda Arnold here, the legend.
I try
still
my
very
best.
beautiful.
Thank you, Bilal. That's so nice of you. So then it was a time when Rwanda had some health problems, and her husband was still alive, and he called me. He says, no, she didn't have any children, so wanted me to be a part of her life to the end. And I was put on the helper conservatorship kind of way. So I ended up doing, her husband passed, I organized the funeral. When she passed, it was,
you are blessed.
So I was
blessed,
so happy to help someone like a mentor way back. I came back into her life and saw that she had a healthy ending.
What better person but yourself that could have filled that bill, that could have done that in a way? It's like God put that way.
And she had Alzheimer's. So it wasn't something that my husband kind of wanted me to do, because it can be problematic. But I told my husband, my late husband, I said, you know what, I have to do this.
You have to do this.
I have to do this. And I did it, and I'm happy to do it.
And that made you so blessed
I
today,
know.
Glenda Arnold and the Carib.
Yes.
You're able to tell that story.
Yes.
To help empower others that look at your role. But there at USC, you remember you told me how it all started, that you were doing your classes and this this professor saw you, right?
Right.
Talk about that, Bill.
Actually, I was like, okay, now I'm new. This is my first semester, and I'm just gonna do my thing, because you know I wanted to of course dance is me, but I didn't need I just took the class because of the electives. You know, you need to have them. So when I got into class, it was a jazz class, and this was the dance director who was teaching the class. So I was at the bar doing my points and whatever. And she came up to me with her stick. She says, would you like a job as an adjunct professor? I said, oh my goodness, yes.
Oh man,
like,
she's
okay.
Yeah,
so
she saw that right away.
Right away. So I was put on the faculty as an adjunct professor, and I introduced the campus to university to Afro-Caribbean with some Dunham technique, which I passed on. I also taught dance performance and choreography. And I had students from all over the world, because you know USC is international.
It's an international school.
So I decided, when I went to graduate school from there, I decided to do my research right there with my class. So I had all different ethnic groups, all types in my class. And that's how I expanded the thought of bringing us together as one. And just the use of the drums, some of the students were so reluctant to even partake in an African style dancing. The ones especially from the Midwest.
Wow.
And so I gave them a pre-test. And I asked questions and how they felt. So after they took the class, and I gave them the post-test, it was an amazing outcome. Because, and then the transformation from the beginning, when they heard the drums and they wouldn't move, They just tried to move. They were scared to show the other person. If you're Caucasian, you're not going to do like African, right?
Yes.
So they were kind of intimidated. And so while they were trying to get in there freely, they had little struggles. So a few classes down the line, during the semester, they felt more comfortable. And as I encouraged them to move, and they do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes.
They're coming from here to there. So at the end of the semester, when I did the post-test review, one student from the beginning asked them, why do you think that you won't be able to take this class? Because I think I am just afraid of dancing like that.
Confidence.
Dancing like that. I've never been exposed to that. So when I got her results, she says, oh my goodness, now I always want to dance. So she joined my group.
Amazing.
Because I had a group after that, you know, from the USC students, and she was excited about joining the group. And you saw the pictures.
I saw the pictures.
And you see the
yeah, and I think I saw
you
working out some of those students at your first academy that you had named.
Absolutely, I did.
Yes, I did. So I actually saw some of the students. I saw you work with them.
Right, so
Yeah.
I changed their minds, I expanded their thinking about what is probably stemming from back when we were slaves, you know?
You gave them confidence.
Confidence. So
You gave them confidence.
the drums is nothing to be afraid of. The rhythm is nothing to be afraid of. And some of them were so good with the transformation that they were even better than our own black dancers. So the awareness that they got allowed for self-interrogation. And if they had a little bit of prejudice, it changed them.
There you go again. Intervention.
This is what I had in my dissertation, the graph and changes.
Phenomenal.
It's qualitative and quantitative analysis.
You just keep changing lives. You go along.
So when I saw the situation that happened with Trump the other day, with the racial disharmony,
right.
I was like, I need to go out there and teach some dances.
Yes.
Let these people partake
They
in
need
some
their
of these
therapy. It's therapy.
Let them embrace
Yes, others,
and feel good
indeed.
about.
But man, your time at USC, the University of Southern California, you were a student professor.
Until when I got my when I graduated, I stayed there until I finished. I think I was doing my master's, and then I had to leave the city. I couldn't teach anymore because I had so much going on with the city job and that. So it had to change.
You talk about how you were like a TA. One of the professors couldn't come.
This was more advanced because this was my doctoral studies, and I was doing cultural pluralism. The course I took that semester. Wow. So the professor couldn't teach the class, and he asked me to understudy for him. So I taught his, and these were graduate students, so I did.
Very awesome.
Yeah.
This is Belizean Legends, and I'm Bilal Morris. And we are speaking with the legendary Belizean artist extraordinaire, Glenda Arnold, better known as Bella Carib. Bella, we talk about that whole wide spectrum of your work. You know, it embodied so much. In particular, yes. So interesting though was your educational part, and the way how you use the arts in terms of changing lives, building confidence in human beings.
Right.
I think that is so very much needed because a lot of people think that they can't do things.
Right.
And being that the artist that you were, I knew you were not afraid to go up there on a stage. You were, when Mr. Bob saw you, he was said, she was, you know what he told me too? He said to me, I said, who was your, he says, Glenda Arnold, who was your best artist, your best dancer? He said, from she walked into the door, never forget that. I have to say this on camera, Glenda Arnold, Bella Carib. I have to say this. He said, and he had his little tank, right? And he was up in Evanston, Illinois, where he lived with his wife before he passed.
Yeah.
And he said to me, as soon as she walked into the door, I knew.
Oh my goodness, that was nice.
Yeah, man. And he went on and he talked about, he said, as soon as you walked into that door.
Oh, so nice of Mr. Bob.
He said, as soon as you walk, he says, your presence, as soon as, and that is the truth.
Oh.
That's exactly what he said to me. And I had to add that in because I met the man and I saw that wide caliber of artistry that you talk about that he encompassed, you know?
Exactly.
You pursued an educational doctorate that you were able to merge all these talents that you had, these experiences.
Yes.
This journey you took, Glenda Arnold, you took this great journey, you were able to take all that and put it in a doctorate degree. Talk about your doctorate degree and what it was in.
Actually, the degree was in the specialization is international and intercultural education under the umbrella of policies and administration in the School of Education, Roger School of Education at USC. And so the supplemental, because of course you have to have 3 areas. My supplemental area was curriculum planning and design. And the minor was using the arts. The arts.
Amazing.
So
I think that when we look at Belizean intellectuals, those who have rose to incredible standards in Belize, Dr. Calvin-Young,
Mr. Dr. Young, yes.
His PhD, his doctorate was in linguistics.
Linguistics, okay.
The metathesis of Belizean Creole. That was
interesting. Yeah.
And now here we have another master intellectual, an educational expert, Dr. Glenda Arnold-Heon, that has now did something that no other Belizean had done.
I believe that I was able to go there, like you said, because of my experiences, my life experiences. And this is when I had my to consult with my program director at USC in the doctoral field. He gave me that green flag to use my life experiences.
The best thing. What better else?
Right, exactly.
What better else? And you excelled. You excelled greatly.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Within that, a subculture or a subpart of what you did in your PhD, you also talk about exploring dance works from art to soul, a motivational communication therapy.
Okay.
Talk about how did that fit into your work, your dissertation and your studies.
Okay, since the title of my my dissertation was actually probing the direction of dance, probing the direction of dance.
Probing the direction of dance. Yes.
And so under the subtext of cross-cultural analysis of the cross-cultural analysis of ethnic dance as a vehicle for change to bring people together. Okay,
Beautiful.
To increase tolerance to cultural differences.
Beautiful. Tolerance
to cultural differences.
Wonderful. I think you are such an asset in that I have not known of any other artist that had merged out of Belize in that way and was able to develop this caliber and then ended it with this magnificent changing tool, a tool of change.
So then the entire composition of what I did really had to do with social, anthropological, psychosocial,
Yes.
and all-encompassing.
All-encompassing, which is very much needed in
Right.
a little country today, Belize. I hope that Glenda Arnold-Heon, Dr. Glenda Arnold, is a doctor Glenda Arnold-Heon. Now you're talking about Glenda Arnold, Bella Carib. I'm proud of my culture. Dr. Glenda Arnold-Heon, people. Look at this.
Okay.
Huh? Exploring dance from a motivational communication therapy, written and presented by Glenda Arnold-Heon, PhD. The Global Beat Associates Achievement in Motion Services, California and Pacific Southwest Recreation and Park Training Conference, session titled Therapeutic and Aging Institute. See what this lady did here? This is an expert. This is a professional. Man, that was really big to hold, you know, Dr. Arnold. That was very big to hold, and I addressed you with that as a great degree of respect in terms of the journey you took to have developed this for Belize and in the Belizean diaspora. Because you are a product of the Belizean diaspora, and you were one of those people who we are proud of to show as an example that great things comes from the Belizean diaspora.
Yes.
Great people like you. That has come here and have never wasted your time, have never sat down once.
No.
Never once have you sat down and say, I can't.
No.
There's
no such statement as
this
I
is
can't.
the culmination. This is the culmination of that great journey. And she's not done yet. But we want to go into that musical part now, Bella. We want to go into that musical part where you took on that musical career as Bella Carib. Talk about how did it all happen?
So, yeah, well, while doing all these things that I've been doing, I found time to play around with some songs, maybe turning some poems into songs. And once I did the musical, Harder than Casaba, I had been inspired then to do more musicals. And so I was playing around with some certain caricatures, you know, and I thought about, I saw a guy with a bald head, and I'm like, that'd be a nice song to make something off. And so the words just flowed. I just came up with the words. The melody came to me, and this happened in 1989. The melody came. I just said, bald head man, bald head man. I have a man. Ooh, wow. Well, I wish I had a bald head man. And, you know.
The creative process just started to flow.
Yeah, so I just felt it. I felt it, and I recorded it. A little recorder that you had back in those days. I recorded it, and I played it back, and I liked it. And so, at that time, I used to go to a rehearsal with this band, Belizean Gold.
Belizean Gold.
And my brother was, Papa Curly was doing something at the time. He was into his rapping and so the band was playing, and I was like, okay, maybe, was it that band that, I think it was another band. My brother was doing something with another band. And I had the recorder with me, and I said, I have something good, let me play it for you. And I played it for my brother. And I said, why don't you let them back me up? Maybe I could sing it at the show. We were working on a show, something. And so he said, well, try it, take the mic. And that's how that came about. And I picked up the mic and I started to sing it, and they put a little beat to it, and the rest is history.
And you have an incredible voice.
And so thank you.
You have an incredible voice.
Somebody said I have a stentorian voice. It was one of the write-ups from the newspapers.
Yes.
So then that happened, and my brother, Papa Curly, and his partner produced the single, Bald Head Man. And right after that, the next year, it was Rice and Beans.
Rice and Beans.
Followed by Proud of My Culture. And then,
big time hit. Big tune that released, Proud of My Culture.
Actually, Proud of My Culture got, is in the library of the University of.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which one of your albums here did Bald Head Man come out on?
Well, the Bald Head Man was a single.
It was a single?
Was a tape.
Right, okay.
You know the old-fashioned tapes?
Very much.
That was a single.
Yes.
And during that time, we it wasn't an album I was doing, it was just singles.
Singles. At the time, they were only cassettes, remember?
Cassettes, exactly.
Yeah, Belizeans in Los Angeles were only doing the singles.
Yeah. So I started recording in 1989.
Very much.
And Bald Head Man was a big hit.
Yeah.
It was huge.
Big time hit.
And when I went to Trinidad and Tobago for Carib Festa in 1993, I believe, it was, those people just went wild over Bald Headed Man.
You stole the show. Go ahead, you're gonna get to that
part. Okay, let's not go there. Okay. So then, because I wanted to put Bald Headed Man on an actual disc, to modernize it, I put it on this current, the last album I did in 2014. I did a remix of it.
Belize Creole Funk.
Belize Creole Funk is actually
Carib.
It's actually track number 1.
Awesome album. I would advise Belizeans get this album. Bella Carib did an incredible job. This was you at your best.
Yeah,
and it was produced by Carl McGregor, right?
No, it was produced by Bagan, his Francis Sutherland.
Francis Sutherland, awesome keyboard player.
Carl McGregor did the mastering.
Did the mastering. It was his studio and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Francis remade Bald Headed kind because we only had it on the little disc, on the little tape, so kind of had to make it over.
Yeah, it was also on cassette.
It's just on the cassette tape.
The analog.
So, but it's pretty much the same. Yeah.
This is an incredible album.
Thank you.
You have some awesome hits on here, and I would advise Belizeans check this album out. She has some serious music on.
I'm happy with the results.
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
Hurricane Bella is on there.
Yes. My sister called me and said, you hear this before? I said, no, I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
And she discovered it on Facebook and it was like, wow.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome song. Then you went on after that, like you said, and your musical career started. Bella Carib, the musical artist, performer. Talk about the performances that you did. It spin off into live shows.
Live shows. So after that first experience with Bald Headed Man, I was getting calls to perform all over the place. Went to New York, went to Belize, went to Trinidad, I was all over the place. And a lot of places here in California. I did major festivals like Festac. That was an annual festival at the Queen Mary.
Yes.
That was a huge festival because they had well-known artists, international artists, such as Lucky Dubé and Moro Baruku and
you were performing.
I was performing with all those people.
Bella Carib was performing with the legendary lady
Lucky Dubé. On the same stage out there.
Stage.
Yeah.
Belizean talent.
Yes. And Mighty Sparrow and
Sparrow.
Actually, the Mighty Sparrow, when he heard me on the same stage with him, he called me. I guess he got my number from my brother. Called me and invited me to join him in concert in New York.
Wow.
At his
invitation hosted by the Mighty Sparrow.
He sent my ticket. He picked me up from the airport. Drove me to the hotel.
He was blown away with that performance. Bella Carib, the performer,
and his
performing artist,
and the troubadour back there. Is it the troubadour? The Mighty Sparrow and his troubadour. Yeah.
Great minds know great minds.
The band back there.
Very much
so. I did a lot of works over those years as a Bella Carib, the performer, and I'm still able to perform. Since that time, I remarried, and sometimes things change, but you never stop.
Right.
You just take a little break, and you breathe and revisit.
Yes.
So I am now. After this album, the 25th anniversary album, I am now ready to go back again.
I think it's time.
It's time, yes.
It's time.
Because since I had stopped for a minute, I've done here at the Global Beat certain shows, just here at the Global Beat. And this is why I took a break, because I established a whole new establishment.
You stopped there, we missed you.
Yeah.
We want you to come back, just like your brother, Papa Curly. We want Papa Curly to come back.
He's coming back.
But you stopped for a very important reason. Talk about how you were able to build a Global Beat Academy.
Well, actually, interesting question again. You told me that I tie in my life. Well, this is the time that really is important, most important time, because of the maturity.
Yes.
And through the educational standpoint, I use the studies and my dissertation to bring people together, increasing tolerance to cultural differences, and decided with my late husband, who was supportive, that we want to create this establishment and use it as a model to bring people together from all walks of life and have different types of activities going on here that will blend in all the worlds.
Yes.
And so the name Global Beat came about.
And I just want to say that I knew your late husband, Raymond Heon, dynamic man.
Yes.
Dynamic man. Me and him would laugh a lot. Raymond was a fascinating, and to have had this lady here, this incredible Belizean legend, become his wife. That is also a very thing. I was glad that I was honored to have met Raymond.
Man. He was a nice man.
So.
And so we started the Global Beat and the Carib Academy of the Arts as a subdivision, right back from Western, right here. And we've been doing, I believe it's been upheld in the community.
Very much. Billy, you know what?
In an impressive manner.
People come from all across the states. There is nothing like this in the diaspora, in the Belizean diaspora, in New York, Chicago, and Miami. And one person said to me, "This is a cultural center. You all have a dynamic community here, but the only cultural center that we have is the Global Beat Academy. It's a cultural center." Because you said that was your objective, to bring people together, right?
And instead of just saying, okay, this is the Belizean Cultural Center, the Japanese Cultural Center, the Chinese Cultural Center, I just say it's a multicultural center.
Yes.
And so far, I have been engaged in different projects such as what I'm talking about. And we had a nice program here during the election. It was an Earth awareness program. And there were people from all over that were gathered here.
Look at that. So it achieved its objective.
Absolutely.
It achieved its objective.
Of course, people know it a lot for parties, but there are other things that happen here.
It's also an entertainment center where a lot of the times the Global Beat Belize is rented by a lot of musical artists and for parties, weddings, and stuff like that. A lot of Belizean people have a lot of different festivities here, and it was provided through the ingenuity of the legendary Glenda Arnold, Bella Carib. We are very proud of that. We are proud of you for that, Bella.
It's a one-stop facility because we have children's parties, we have seniors' birthdays, all ages, we have repasts, we have receptions. So many, a wide variety of activities.
Truly multicultural center, global in its perspective.
And of course I have the studio next door.
See that?
The dance studio.
Very much. And that tells me I need to go back to your music career. You talk about Carifesta in Trinidad.
Oh my goodness, yes.
You stole the show. You stole the show. And on that show was the legendary Andy Palacio.
Yes.
And I would have thought that somebody like the legendary rapper, he would have stolen the show. But you stole the show.
Well, you know,
you stole the show, Bella. You keep on doing it. You keep on doing these big things.
I didn't mean to.
You keep on doing it.
I didn't mean to.
Bella Carib was it 1993?
Yes.
Bella Carib at the 1993 Carifesta, the Belizean legend here, stole the show and had a big review in the Trinidadian
Guardian.
Talk about it.
In the Trinidadian Guardian.
We have to talk about that.
I was on the front page of the Trinidadian
How did it come
Guardian.
About? How did that come about?
I have no idea. Somebody just
what
brought
was the performance like, though? I mean,
it was at the Savannah, a great Savannah. By the way, I got to see the late Fidel Castro.
Oh my!
He was there at the Savannah. He was I guess he saw me perform.
He saw you perform.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So he was in Cuba?
He was there in Trinidad and Tobago at the Savannah. Yes.
Look at that, Belize.
Yes, he was. Yes.
Legendary Glenda Arnold.
So
actually saw Fidel Castro in person.
So they wanted to. The audience were excited about the Belizean delegation, but particularly they wanted to ask me more questions. I was the one who they reached out to, the reporters reached out to. So I feel really honored that I represented Belize well.
That's so cool. Here we have
And I was the only female.
An ambassador for Belize.
Being the only female recording artist performer during that time.
You should have been the Belize musical ambassador of culture and music.
Actually, that was brought up, but something else happened with that.
Oh, okay.
We're not going to go there.
But
we're not going to go there.
You were splashed all over the Trinidadian
right,
garden.
exactly.
Wow.
And that was exciting.
Then when you said that Fidel Castro was in the audience watching you perform, Cuba has this vast artistic cadre to it, this brilliance.
Right.
And I know when this man was seeing you, because when you watch Cuban artists perform, as you know, Cuba has put a lot of emphasis in the arts.
Oh my goodness.
Right? And you know about that as an artist yourself, as a performing artist, as a musical artist, and as an educator.
Actually, I know the Belize Dance Theater under the auspices of Alcacili. They've had the Cuban dance company
come
quite a bit
I know,
to do,
very much.
to do training. Because I took when I was in Belize one summer, I was there. I participated in one of the workshops. Yes, I remember that.
But I know the late Rosita Baltazar did some studies in Cuba.
And she was my background dancer for my show.
How sweet.
Actually, it was set up for her to go to do background. Because I told them I needed to have background dancers. I don't like to perform without background dancers. So they sent her, God bless her death. She was a beautiful soul.
Awesome artist. She left a legacy of dance that you can be proud to say, Bella, that you worked with that incredible Belizean dancer.
Yeah. Back to my music.
The music part,
I've done all these albums and I write all my songs.
Let's talk about, we're going to go through them. We're going to want to look at Impulse the Soul. Talk about this album, right?
The concept of this album is actually because we are Belize, pretty much all Belize is multicultural.
Very much so.
And the Latin influence is strong. So I wanted to do something that blended the, not just by the title, but the music collection. I have a lot of Spanish influence in this one. The last track is called Impulse del Sol, and that's more Latin, salsa, soca.
Yes, you emphasize on the Latin part of Belize on this album here. Yes. Then we looked at anniversary celebration, Belize Going Wild. Talk about this one too.
The anniversary, 25th anniversary of Belize independence. I wanted to do something that is indicative of the patriotic life. And so this came about because I was going home to Belize that summer and decided to do this album to take back with me. Of course, we had the flag and Belize Going Wild. I just thought about the time of the year is when we all let loose.
September.
And so one of the tracks on here is called Belize Going Wild.
They said Belizeans in the civil service in Belize in September you can't get nothing done because they start celebrating
all month long. So there is this track on here that is it's called Belize Going Wild, and it's talking about the Independence Days here and all that. So this one is a nice album too.
And then we have here Have a Bella Caribbean Christmas. Very beautiful album. Talk about the hit tunes on there.
Yes.
That were.
This one is every year, we come back to this album. It never gets old, right?
Classic.
Albums never, Christmas albums. Have a Bella Caribbean Christmas. That's kind of a reggae vibe.
Yes.
And we got the One World, One Holiday. That's my favorite.
Yes.
Because that one is, of course, with the way I am, bringing people together. And of course, good morning, Miss Lady. Christmas is coming up again.
Wow, but I took one of those very classic Belize Creole folk songs and whipped that up into a very serious jam right there. Yes, I remember that.
Old time Christmas in Belize. I remember how Christmas used to be.
The thing about you, Bella, is that you have kept the folk
exactly
in your music.
Absolutely.
All of them.
You got that.
Even the Christmas
You got
track. You have taken the old Creole folk songs and brought them back alive and kept them, preserved them.
So this album is special.
Very much so.
This Christmas album.
Yes, and then we have Rhythm Fever.
Oh, that's one of the better albums.
Talk about Rhythm Fever.
This is one of the better albums.
Very much. You thought that's one of the best albums you have done, right?
Yes, this was produced by the great Clinton Crawford.
Junie, Clinton Crawford. Man, Clinton, Junie Crawford. Incredible.
Yes.
Incredible.
I'm proud of this album.
Yes.
We have tracks like Rhythm Fever, Make a Difference, which was produced by Michael Hyde.
Michael Hyde.
Yes.
Legendary Michael Hyde. The only Grammy Award winner. Belizean Grammy Award winner with Ziggy Marley.
Womanana, that's funny, that's soca funny.
Yes.
I like to write with comedic influence, and of course Sarahoma, we were talking about that, but I was talking about Sarahoma because we were talking about the Garifuna people in Belize and how the Creoles used to be kind of a
clannish and prejudice.
Yes, exactly, prejudice.
Yes.
And I have a chapter in my dissertation in my book about the situations that we had in Belize.
Where you have used the artistic medium to bring those two cultures together.
And Sarahoma is a song that brings the two cultures together.
Very much. And I know in your whole dance, Caliber Radio, Global Beat, you have probably Creole, Garifuna,
really?
East Indian, all these Belizean cultures, where you have this multicultural thing.
Actually, I have a lot of Garifuna. It's like I have a little network of Garifuna family members, people who are family members who constantly come here, rent this facility for events.
Wonderful.
So, especially for repast, because they have drums and they do the repast kind of thing, And Coming Home Belize.
And Coming Home Belize. Beautiful. That's one of my favorites.
Coming Home Belize.
Coming Home Belize. You see, you have kept it folk. Right? You have kept it folk, though a lot of it may have merged out into the commercial medium. You can hear the folk in it still.
It's still there.
You have kept stories. The stories, the nostalgia is inside of your music.
Well, in the past they labeled me. I was labeled. You know, people put labels on you. In the past, because I started out kind of like Punta Rock. At the time, it was Punta Rock craze, and then I was doing a lot of Punta Rock. So they labeled me as the Punta Rock Queen. And I had it in my resume as such. I'm not changing it in my bio. So, and I don't like to be labeled.
You don't like to be labeled. Put in a box.
Musically. So I do Caribbean music.
Very much so.
And if
it's
you
broader
notice
than that.
It's broader than that. So I say I'm better wording. Diamine said to me, "You're the queen of culture." One day she called me way back. And she said, "I'm digging your music. You're the queen of culture." And I picked it up. I picked it up and I put it in my bio. I said, "Okay, I'm the queen of culture."
Yes, there you go.
That's better.
That's better. That's more fitting. That's within your spectrum.
Exactly.
Right. So, that's within your spectrum right there.
So,
talk about your meeting the great Mr. The legendary Mr. Peters, the woman.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Brockdown King.
The Brockdown King. Actually, I met him a few times because we performed, on stage a few times. When I recorded, I didn't really meet him in the studio. Many people thought that I did, that we recorded together. There's that one song that I did with him. You know that song? Run, Mr. Peters.
Run, Mr. Peters.
Patrick asked me if I could do a part in it, and I wrote it. But I didn't have to go meet him in the studio. I just transported the music.
Very much so. You are authentically Brockdown.
Because back in the day when Punta was really big, Punta Rock was really big, and it was more commercially viable, I did the Punta Rock.
Proud of the culture, that's Brockdown.
That one is Brockdown.
Talk about that track, Bella, because you did an incredible job. You wrote that song. Proud of the culture is very popular with Belizean young people. They love that song, Bella.
So what I did, I did my research, and the book that Dr. He wrote, the linguistics guy.
Dr. Calvillion
Governor
General.
With all the old little.
Very much.
What do you call it? The
Creole proverbs.
Proverbs.
Yeah, sayings.
I looked at his proverbs, and when I wrote this song, I picked out the ones that I remember, you know, that would work for the song.
Very much so.
And then I wrote the core of the song and used those. Well, no, I wrote the hook, right? The culture is very nice.
The hook,
And so, and then I used the in and out with the chorus.
Wow, look at that. Well, you know, I'm not surprised that someone of your caliber could do that merges education along with culture, with arts, and you merge all these things together. It was like, it was so organic for you. It was so
organic,
easy. It just came natural, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, it just came
Songwriting is very natural for
very
me,
much.
yeah.
Bella, but your performance, they were spectacular. I remember the Belize Key Fest performances at Rancho Cienega Park.
Oh, yes.
You were with the dancers.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
I mean, you were unique.
I love it. Yeah.
There was nothing like it when you came on the musical scene.
Can you imagine dancers became more of a part and parcel of performances now, lately, of late. But I was doing it way back then.
You were the first to do that.
I was really,
You were really first to do that.
And actually, I am also the first female recording artist.
Listen
I want to
Belize.
establish that because I think that it's being lost.
Belan, your performing arts, and your musical career really blew up so big all the way to Crefesta. Performances out of the Belize Key Fest. You even performed in Belize.
I did a few things in Belize, when I was there.
You performed in so many other venues here in the United States.
I did
as a performing artist.
I did a whole year in concert performing as the legendary Josephine Baker.
Look at that, Belize. Josephine Baker.
Yes, with the host of the show being Ernest Thomas, the young man who starred in the TV show What's Happening Now.
Wow.
He was the host. We traveled all over.
Our own Bella Carib, Glenda Arnold. Yeah, she did all that, I believe. That is fascinating, and it is so, it's just a splendid thing to hear. You bring to our audience this vast body. It's an empowerment, Bella, because a lot of our young artists today believe they feel stuck, in terms of they don't feel that there is nowhere else to go. Right?
Yeah.
What advice do you have for them in terms of expanding their entire repertoire? Some may not want to migrate or immigrate out of Belize. They see themselves as right there. The awesome, legendary late Sita Baltazar and Altia Celia. They stayed right there.
They stayed right there.
And they were able to create a whole legacy.
Too. Yes,
What do you have as the legendary Glenda Arnold, better known as Bella Carib, the awesome performing artist? What advice would you want to give to artists on the whole, musical as well as dancers and all of that is trying to expand themselves?
Okay, believe in yourself, number one. Do not believe anything that you cannot do, that's not possible. You can do anything. Always be around positive people. Learn as much as you can learn. Don't keep yourself in a little cocoon. Don't keep yourself in a shell. You need to think outside the box sometimes. And that will help you grow.
Unorthodox.
Unorthodox, absolutely. Like for now, I am the director, national director of Belize for World Championship of Performing Arts. It's been like 2 years, going on the third year. I'm not getting the support from our Belizeans in general, and that's kind of disappointing. Because I wanted to put Belize out there on the map, further up on the map. And we get people from all over the world in this competition. Beautiful competition, happens in Long Beach. So I'm looking for artists, I'm always looking for artists. So I'm recruiting artists. And this is a good way for you to get further out of your comfort zone. You have opportunities like this, take advantage of it. You might have to invest a little bit of time, energy, even a few dollars, but it's worth it. If you believe in yourself and you know you can do it, your future is right there in your hands. Belize, you can do it in Belize, and you can do it globally.
The Carib, you talk about that just fired me up, because I want to ask you, as a Belizean from the diaspora, the Belizean diaspora, we are looking to develop our country from abroad, right? We are looking at intellectual experts and professionals like yourself.
Right.
How do you think that you will be able to contribute to Belize in that area? As a Belizean expatriate national, transferring knowledge into your country.
Well, actually, as you mentioned earlier in our session here, that I could be instrumental in working with the University of Belize. First and foremost, I could do remote.
Distant learning?
Yes. Or I can be a visiting professor.
Yes.
To even work with the administration to develop a school within the university.
You made me smile when you said that. You made me smile.
Yes. And
Yes.
it's limitless. It's limitless what we can do. And I don't think we as a people from our country take the advantage that's presented to them. We don't take advantage of all the resources.
No, we have
and all the resources lie in our own people.
That's right. That's right. Both
The
at home and abroad.
human
There you
resources.
go. Human resources gonna create.
Home and
very much so.
abroad. And
Yeah.
that's a little thing. That's something that we need to fix.
Yes, yes, very, very, very much so. And we are so happy if they would say we would bring Bella Carib in as a associate professor.
Associate professor, a lecturer.
You would be willing to go.
I would be willing to go.
There is
Absolutely.
The lady
Yes,
is willing
I would
to
be willing to
transfer
go.
that knowledge. Yeah.
Because actually, this is something important to say. When I was exercising my thoughts on what I will do with the outcome of my graduate work, at the time I did it, my director of my program at USC actually had been to Belize.
Wow.
And we had talks about developing the country.
Look at
and
that.
he even said to me, maybe one day you can be the Prime Minister of Belize.
You will never know. Look
He
at
said that to me, I swear he did.
But Bella, that is very interesting, and I'm going to say that in the character. We're looking for a prime minister that comes out of the diaspora.
Wait a minute.
And it might just be
I'm
you.
serious. No, I'm just saying. I'm just giving you a little
I
story.
know,
Because I was cracking up when he said that. But I
But we're
said,
looking for leadership like you. The
Yeah.
people are looking for leadership like you. And Bella, it's not that I'm trying to powder you
yeah,
or
no, I
make you
understand.
blush, but it's
You've
our
been
people
genuine
are
about
looking
things.
for leadership.
Yeah.
Leadership that you encompass. This whole body
Yeah,
of knowledge that you can,
Yeah.
not necessarily leadership as a leader of a country, but leadership in education, leadership in the artistic
Right.
medium,
right.
leadership in different areas, you know?
But like I say, the director of my program, who had been to Belize, knowing that it's a third world country that needed a lot of developments, he was excited to support me
That.
through my educational process because he knew that I will be giving back to the country. And he, through me, will help.
Man.
So where is it going? It's up to...
He was able to identify.
Exactly, and I'm not getting, I don't know, but I'm trying. I send little signals out doing different things, such as World Championship, pay my own money to be involved, to help the Belizeans, but it's not, it's kind of like push and a pull syndrome. We need to let go and let give. Let go and let give,
Yes.
and some of our little you know, ways that we might have, we need to let go of it and
culture
just embrace one another.
Embrace each other
and support.
That's right.
There you go. I think that's about it. I cannot say anything more than just take advantage of what is in front of you. Well, life is just worth living to the best of your ability, and live it in a positive way, in the most positive way. Whether you're in Belize, whether you're in England, whether you're here in America, globally, live it the most positive way. And let's reach out and touch one another, and share the love. One love.
This is Belizean Legends, and I'm Bilal Morris. And we were speaking with the legendary Glenda Arnold-Heon, Dr. Glenda Arnold-Heon, Bella Carib. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome, Bilal.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure. Thank you too.
Yes, it's a pleasure. Yes, yes.